Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Adam bin Yasin and my metric number is 04DET1EF1117. And my lecturer names is Puan Shulaini binti Syari, Puan Juliana binti Yuzu, and Puan Suryati binti Ramli. I want to present about provide an internet network in a computer lab at your institution. Okay, for the first definition, task to be performed is to set up and configure the network, then test connectivity for related tasks. After that, the policy setting and the configured interface are to confirm the configured settings. This is an important step and must be done before the configuration are added to the router. Okay, next. For the related task content test, one identify how many devices need to be connected to the network. Each device, server or the workstation requires a unique address. Two, run the cable to the workstation if possible. Wire LANs will always get better and more secure performance. That wireless LAN whenever possible. Whenever possible, run the cable to a server, printer, IP phone, or work location. Run the cable to any area where you might be working. Use standard Ethernet cables or building wiring as installed in accordance with the DIA-568 standard. For 3, test the service and internet connectivity. Test each workstation to make sure they can connect to the internet and test any local service and printers. Print the test page on a shared printer. Test read and write permission on a file server along with copying files to the server and copying files from the server to workstation. This is a network diagram. For the network preparation and configuration, then testing connectivity. Check the hardware when starting the troubleshooting process. Check all hardware to make sure it is properly connected. Turn on and while working if the cable is missed or someone has turned off an important router. This may be the problem behind the network problems. There is not point in going to the network troubleshooting process if all you have to do is install the cable. Make sure all switch and are in the correct position and not accidentally jack. Using for the tool using ipconfig. Open a command prompt and type ipconfig without the quotes into the terminal. The default gateway last listed is the IP of the router. The computer IP address is the number next to IP address. If the computer IP address begins with 169, the computer will not receive a valid IP address. If it starts with anything other than 169, your computer will assign a valid IP address from the router. For the next, using ping and packet tracer. If the router is working properly, and has an IP address starting with something other than 169, the problem most likely lies between the router and the internet. At this point, it's time to use the ping tool. Try sending a ping to a well working in large server such as Google to see if it can connect to the router. For the four, do an inspection DNS. Use the NS lookup command to determine if there is a problem with the server you want to connect to. If you perform a DNS check, for example google.com, and receive results such as expire server file projected, no response from server, or network unreachable, it may indicate a problem, a risk in the DNS server for the purpose. For the result of the solution, and the second for the result, and for the local area network, that is a network structure that covers a small geographical area. Special features LAN include LAN connect and device is in restricted areas such as homes, school buildings, office, or campus. LANs are usually administered by one organization or individual. Administrative controls governing security and access control policies are enforced at the network level. Okay, for the next is conclusion. The conclusion in the EOC is the use of the internet has clearly given us 1,001 benefit. Therefore, as a first-class mind society, we need to make advantage of the use of the internet, gaining special knowledge. In the modern era, we should not be left behind along frog under the shell, because the use of the internet seems to be inseparable from the current progress of the country. So the government needs to educate the community to use the internet to provide a generation of it literally and comparable to other developed countries in the order to achieve Vision 2020. In addition, parents also need to educate children to learn the internet at home. Ultimately, there is no denying that the conventions of the internet does provide us with various benefits. So thank you. That's all from my presenting.